OpenAI has chosen a call center human agent for this incoming customer call.
Wait, what? Isn't AI supposed to be answering customer service calls now? What's it doing routing one? I thought AI was supposed to take over all customer support.
You were the chosen one!
Well, despite the hype, we're just not there yet. However, I did replace a decades-old call routing algorithm with an AI. I made a real phone call into a real phone system, and an AI decided which human agent should answer it. Before I show you, here's the key idea. When you call a company, there's usually an ACD system, automatic call distribution, deciding where your call goes. It looks at things like availability, skills, utilization, and priorities. Then the math picks a person. So I started wondering, could I swap out this multi-layered complex algorithm for an AI instead?
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they didn't stop to think if they should.
I've spared no expense in building this, so let me start the tour. This is a real call flow running in a contact center system. Normally at this step, the call would go into an ACD algorithm, and that algorithm would evaluate all available agents and pick one. I removed that step completely.
Fairy dust. It doesn't exist.
Instead, I gather data about the agents, send it to an OpenAI model, the model picks the best agent, and the system routes the call to that person. Now that's the core of what I built. Let me take a minute to show you around the phone system so you can see the kinds of data these routing decisions are normally based on. That will make it clear how I shifted this process over to an AI model to test my little experiment. Over here, I have brought up a sample agent within the phone system. This area here describes their cues. Over here is their skilling and some of the proficiencies given. And then over here is some utilization about the different media channels they might take. These three areas are the things that the ACD algorithm is going to compare in a mathematical way for evaluating the agents. Also, over here on the right is even some status information with a green circle meaning available. Then here is this queue switch for then being available or not available for the system queued calls. All of this information is then packaged up into that ACD algorithm and mathematically decides which agent should receive the call. Now there is another tab in here called Person Details. As this is brought up, there's a bit of the contact information for this user, as well as a biography section, interests, and hobbies. Now this part here is nothing that would go into an ACD algorithm. This is really just something to display internally. From here, I'll move on to a section called a data table. This is really a spreadsheet system that can be configured within the phone system. Up here, I've got about 5 profiles that I put together for different callers that could be entering into the system. I've enabled it to where I can mimic who these people are, similar to a CRM or customer record management system. There is the name, customer send date, a subscription level, and this is something that could be tied to a skill that an ACD algorithm would typically start to evaluate. However, over in the biography and products purchased areas, these might be fields that would be typical for a record management system. However, an ACD algorithm would not consider these columns. The profile I'll be using today is the fourth one down, Bradley Williams. He's got a subscription level of gold, along with some biography information, and then products purchased is a pretty lengthy list. Now, let's move on to what we're actually going to be sending as far as the AI context over to OpenAI. In this table, I've set up a profile for different numbers that I could use to call in. The main one we'll use is the top one. I've already established which model I want to use within the OpenAI APIs. I've given the main context of what I want those models to do. I then tell the model to return this information in a format that's JSON. That's something that the phone system can read to then map the ID right to the agent that's been selected. And then of course at the end, I have it to say 2 to 3 sentences about why it picked that particular agent. After this paragraph of context, I then use the call flow to pull all of the agent's information, like the data I just showed you, and then as well as the caller profile with the biography information, all of that going in together and really just seeing what the AI model does with it. Okay. That completes the little mini tour of the phone system for right now. How I'm going to run the test is I'm going to call into a test number that I have and then choose Bradley's profile from a menu that I've set up. We should then hear some very faint tapping sounds. This is what the system uses as audio to put on the line while it waits for the OpenAI response. Once that response comes back, I have some TTS set up. That means text to speech. The exact sentences that are given back for the reasoning of deciding the agent and the agent name are then played back to me in a computerized voice. So that's on the phone system where that audio is coming from. But the text being read off is right from that AI model. I'll then let it route to the agent, and then we'll take a look at the logs. That'll wrap up our test. Let's begin. I'll shift over here to see our queue activity. We can now see all of the agents ready to go. I actually do have all of these agents logged in on this machine, 8 agents all available right now. All right, let's run the test.
Please select an option for choosing a customer profile now. Finding an agent for your call. OpenAI chose an agent, and here is the reason. AI's strong technical skills and ability to break down complex issues into simple explanations align well with Bradley's preference for concise and quick fixes. Her availability and solid command of English make her an ideal match for providing effective support to a fast-paced customer like Bradley. Sending call to user Aisha Patel now.
All right, and we got a connected call. Test successful. So just to make sure, let's go ahead and review the logs for this interaction. I set up some attributes to grab some more information from the responses. We see here the exact response that was given, that was read off in that text-to-speech to us on the phone call, as well as we see the OpenAI time taken was 1 second, and then the total tokens was 1,892. We then get the agent name as well as the ID. Now let's hop over to the OpenAI logs to see what we find. Here is the actual request that was given for that phone call I just made. Here is the system prompting as well as the user part with all of the information, including their agent availability, biography information, even their skill information at the proficiency levels as well. We have all that information going in as the main request over to the OpenAI model. Then down here is its response. We see the agent ID, we see the agent name, as well as the reasoning. Thus the phone system took this response and routed it right to that agent. And there it is, a real call, routed in real time by an AI model with no traditional routing algorithm involved. And the interesting part is this: it didn't just pick an agent, it explained its reasoning. That's something traditional algorithms usually don't do in a way that humans can read. What just happened there used to require a very specific algorithm designed by engineers. Now it's a model interpreting text. Let's talk about reality for a second, because this is important. Is this cheaper than a traditional routing system? Well, not really, depending on how you define costs. Each decision costs tokens, each request takes time. In the experiment, you probably noticed there was a slight delay while the AI evaluated the agents. In a large call center, there are thousands of calls per hour, dozens or hundreds of agents, and large amounts of caller data. Those costs and delays matter, and traditional routing systems are extremely optimized. There are also architectural things I would absolutely change before anyone even thought about using something like this in production. Better caching of agent data, middleware services for safety, a lot of quality assurance testing, and more efficient models. AI models today are built very large to handle very general tasks. There's a massive race towards adoption, especially for consumer audiences. But over time, we'll likely see more smaller specialized models trained for specific roles in everyday business systems. So no, this is not production ready. And that's actually the point. This isn't about replacing systems tomorrow. It's about understanding what's possible today. Here's what I find fascinating about this. Traditional algorithms work like this. Inputs go in, math happens, a result comes out. It's deterministic, predictable, rule-driven. LLMs work differently. They don't calculate the best answer in the same way. They predict what a good answer looks like based on patterns. That means they can consider things traditional routing never could. For example, communication preferences, tone, life background, personality traits, humor style, and human experiences. Not just numbers and weights, but meaning. That opens up a different kind of decision making. Not better yet, not always faster, but fundamentally different. And that's why this experiment interested me, because this isn't about AI answering calls. It's about AI deciding things that used to require rigid rules. So what did we learn? AI didn't replace a person today, it replaced a decision. And that's something I think we're going to see more and more of. Not big dramatic takeovers, but small decisions being quietly swapped out over time. And those small decisions add up. Technology enthusiasts like to talk about rapid adoption curves. But when it comes to how companies interact with their customers, there's always a mindset of, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. And that means these transitions take time. The future of AI isn't one big moment. It's thousands of small decisions slowly changing hands. I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention agentic AI. We're most certainly not there yet when it comes to massive adoption in call centers. However, I am going to be working on some future videos around agentic systems that I think are going to be a lot of fun. I appreciate you giving this video a watch, and as always, thanks for being on call with me.